Hello, everyone, and welcome to Homestead Moto 3 Slaunch and Opix on the front row. Then we've got Roman and Detail row number 2. Row number 3 is going to be Matt and Luke. And then row number 4, running out the field yet again, going to be Deech starting in the back for our Homestead kickoff event for our Elantra series. Green flag. We're going to be starting on board with Deech again. And obviously, really great start to the night for DJ, taking the first two motos. Wasn't able to take any moto victories last season, so getting his first two moto wins in our Forza series, and then potentially could be a pretty special one here for Moto 3. Not only does he have the opportunity at potentially sweeping the Triple Crown, which would be pretty special, but he also has the opportunity, and very favored for it, to take the overall. He has the opportunity to take the overall. Closest competitor to him in that regard right now is going to be Matt, because Matt obviously finished on the podium both of the first two races, taking second and third. But Deech, with those bonus points from taking the wins, he does have a 5-point advantage on Matt right now, and that is a massive advantage. That pretty much puts Matt like realistically in a must-win scenario. Like if he, or really anybody, if they're going to want to compete with Deech in this overall at this point and try to steal it, they pretty much are going to need to win, and they're going to need Deech to finish outside of the podium at the very least, but realistically like last or like second last. So it's going to have to be a really rough Moto 3 for Deech. If he finishes like third or fourth, I think it's like almost guaranteed that he's got the overall. And again, like anybody that wants to compete, the most likely, the person in the best position is Matt. They're going to have to, like, realistically take the win. Not necessarily. I think if Matt took second and Deech finished last, that might open it up. But now that I think about it, I think that might be a tie, and Deech with the 2 wins would have the tiebreaker. So even then, yeah. So it's pretty much just like a must-win scenario. So point is, Deech in a really favorable position for that overall. And that would be the first time anyone besides Luke got one here in our series. So keep an eye out for that. Big moment right there for Detail. And we're gonna have a caution off that. Let's take a look at a replay here. That one was a tough one on the call because it looked like it was going to be a spin, and I was kind of calling it before the spin happened. But it was going to screw up the pack anyways, so I don't really mind calling the caution this early in this scenario. But taking a look at some replays here, Detail trying to get low right there, and maybe not completely clear. And yeah, unfortunate scenario, going to get really loose. And this caution early on, another angle here from Slaunch, and a little bit of a brake tap too. I think he was trying to like maybe settle in, and it just happened like super fast. Ends up being our first caution of the moto. And we're gonna re-rack him and get it lined up. And oh, look at this. After that caution, the lights are on and the sun is gone. So yeah, that happened under caution. Well, that was quick. But yeah, gotta have the night race closer. Love to have the night race closer for these Triple Crowns. It's kind of been like tradition for us in these Triple Crown races, and pretty fun one at that. I love having the night race closer. Just love the look of Homestead under the lights. Gives me like, it's funny because it's the opening race, but it just gives me like championship race vibes. Love it. Okay, I was almost ready to call caution right there. A little bit of contact, I think from Slaunch into DJ and then up into Matt, and I was getting ready to call caution, but it looks like they were able to keep it clean. But it was really, really close. That almost looked like a classic wreck for this night. We've had many wrecks like that where somebody on the inside washes up just a little bit, and then a little bit of contact into somebody that gets sent into another person on the outside, and then it ends up being like a wreck into the wall. I feel like we've had multiple cautions like that. I feel like that's been pretty much the typical caution for us in this night, and I was really ready to call another one right there. But again, luckily, they're able to figure it out, able to keep it clean. And the nice thing for this race is, hopefully the drivers will have an easier time at that. We usually increase the grip level over the course of the night. So the first race, I want to say, was like 20% starting grip or something like that, like fairly low. And then the second race was 50%, so like big increase there. And then I think starting at like 80, I want to say, so almost maxed out for this third and final race. So yeah, should have a lot more grip, should be a little bit easier to control, and should be hopefully a little bit cleaner because of that. But maybe the opposite is true. Maybe the drivers feel more confident because of the extra grip, and we actually end up having more incidents. You never know. I could see that being the case as well. So two different ways to look at it, and we'll see how it ends up playing out. But we see Detail and Roman battling for the lead early on. We saw a lot of this in Moto 2, and very early on into Moto 3, we're back at it. So we'll see if they can keep this going. Although Opix is having something to say about that. He's trying to get involved here into second. But yeah, again, Luke taking all the overalls last season, so could be a big story to open out the season here, because Deech could be that first other, or that that second ever overall winner, which would be really cool to see, and like I was breaking down early on too, like very favorable position to do so. But either way, like obviously that would be pretty sweet. But already just taking 2 moto wins in a row to start off the season, especially because he's a driver that'll probably be like more part-time, that's huge points. But he also is probably not going to care about the points as much, not being able to make all the races. So just showing up and being able to get a couple Moto Ws, like that's kind of what he's looking for, I think. So still really, really big regardless. But anyways, back to the race. So we got Opix and Slaunch now. Things have cycled out a little bit, and it's Opix and Slaunch battling for the lead. Both of these drivers looking for a bit of a regain, not necessarily the start to the night that they were hoping for. And this is what makes things interesting starting off the season on Homestead, because Slaunch and Opix were your 2 podium finishers in the points, regular season point standings. Obviously, Slaunch took second and Opix took third. And, they were very, very solid throughout the season, last season, and very consistent on the road courses. Slaunch, I think, would have had an even bigger gap for second if it weren't for all the lag out issues. Like, that costed him a lot of points, and he still finished second by a decent margin. That's the impressive thing. Like, he still, I think it might have been like 6 points or so, which isn't a ton, but considering the amount of lag outs that he had, it kind of is, when you think about it that way. Like, he probably lost, if I had to guess, anywhere between, I don't know, like 12 points and like 20 points off of lag outs. So very impressive that he was able to still, keep that solid of a gap and still hold on to that second place position. But yeah, so you have these 2 guys, that finished in the podium, and then you had, obviously Luke that won the regular season championship, and all 3 of them, not having as great of a start to the night. To be fair, Luke was able to at least, get that second moto second place finish, so that was a little bit better and put him in a little bit better of a position. But regardless, I still think that all 3 of these drivers, with as good as they finished last season, expected a little bit better here. But that's Homestead. You never know how it's going to go. And it's going to put these guys in a really interesting position if Opix and Slaunch can't regain this race, right? Like, they're trying to have a good finish here, trying to get at least a podium in this third moto to salvage some points, put themselves in a decent position going back into the road courses. But if they're not able to do so, they're going to be in the hole. And that's going to be really interesting to watch throughout the season. Starting off in that hole, watch them try to, we definitely have a caution here. We'll get the replay up in a second here. But yeah, it'll be fun to watch them try to climb out of it, because we know from last season's points that they obviously are capable of doing so. And yeah, Opix just getting a little tight to the outside, gets into Slaunch. Slaunch gets into Luke, and just big loose here. Multiple driver contact, heavy impact on the wall. Easy caution call right there. And yeah, get another view of it from Deech's perspective right there. And yeah, just big heavy impact right there. And that's obviously going to bring out a caution over halfway through the race. Right now, we're going to have our second restart. Green flag. And again, Detail and Roman up towards the front. Detail and Roman. For some reason, these last 2 motos, it's just throughout the entirety of the race, we'll see, who it boils down to at the end. But for some reason, it's just those 2 out front and just duking it out a lot of the race. And, that seems to be a theme here recently. So I don't know why that's the case. I don't know what they're doing right to put themselves in that position, but they've got something figured out, and they're trying to, make it work the best that they can and try to convert it to the finish, because the last lap's all that matters, right? The last lap's all that matters. All this battle action, it's fun. It's fun to watch and fun to participate in, but realistically, in these Homestead races, and obviously in all races, but especially in these with the draft wars, that last lap is all that matters. You can lead 25 laps in these Homestead races, lose it on the last one, and those previous 25 laps that you led don't really mean anything. That's just kind of how it is. So got to be clutch, got to be in the right position at the right time. And that is one of those things that is just easier said than done. 3 wide for the lead. Detail, Slaunch, and Roman. Slaunch is, to be fair, getting a little more involved in this one. We have seen him up front a little bit more. So I'm hopeful, you know, maybe he can get a better finish here, because he hasn't, again, like, he's had some decent runs and some decent opportunities, but just hasn't been able to convert the finish in these first 2 races. To be fair, they were both pretty unfortunate, right? Like, the position that he wound up in at the end of Moto 2 was really unfortunate. He was going for the win, ended up in a pinch, you know, the type of thing that happens in Homestead type of racing. Unfortunate. And then in the first race, you know, the losing the draft, in part of the second pack that lost the draft, and there's not, you know, there's only so much that you can do about that. So yeah, just like really unfortunate circumstances. Not the finishes that he was hoping for, but not really through any fault of his own. It's not like he's, you know, crashing out on his own or picking bad lines that I can see. Like, it's just pretty unfortunate stuff. So, oh wow, okay, we might have another caution. Are we gonna have a third caution here? There's another big, heavy into the wall contact. Let's take a look at another replay here. And kind of a similar story of that other one. Opix just gets a little tight in the middle of the corner, comes up. Big contact for Roman, can't regain. Matt heavy into the wall, Roman heavy into the wall. And Slaunch losing a lot off of that as well. And yeah, just going to be another easy caution call. Let's take a look at another replay here. We have Luke's on board. And you can see the brakes too, trying to save it. You can see the brake lights, but it was just too late. It was just too late. Just already like heavy contact. That's going to mix things up a little bit. Deech's view, right spot right there. He's in a good position to avoid that one. Going to shoot him up. Going to get him a lot of track position for this restart. So really nice for Deech right there. And we shoot ahead to the restart. And now we're in crunch time. Now we're in crunch time. All these cautions happened. You know, a lot of crazy stuff has happened this race. And suddenly we're towards the end and we're in crunch time. And let's see who can clutch up here at the end in our third Homestead Moto. Can Deech go 3 in a row? Or can somebody else get on the board? And right now, it's looking like Detail has a good opportunity of doing so. Like I said, he was really good in Moto 2. Wasn't, you know, unfortunate circumstances, wasn't quite able to get the finish that he wanted, but he was, like, there the entire Moto. And now this Moto is kind of the same way. Like, he's been there the entire Moto. And now we're in crunch time. We had that restart. Let's see if he can hold on to it for a good finish at the end. Because the way he's been running this entire Moto is definitely, you know, deserving of finishing up there. So let's see if he can do it. Meanwhile, the Pomplamoose, Slaunch making a move to the outside and trying to get up there as well. Like I said, I feel like we've seen a little bit more of Slaunch this Moto as well. We've seen him have some peaks to the middle and the outside, just trying to get up there, trying to get involved, trying to get that lead. And oh, wow, big contact. I think that was for Deech right there, too. Big contact, luckily able to save it and not lose the draft. So the 3 in a row train, the possibility it is still alive. I thought he maybe could have lost it right there, but it's definitely still alive. Opix had a little bit of a moment, I think, too, but Deech and Opix, you can tell they're a little bit behind, but there's still a few laps to go. They're still in the draft. They're still in a good position, but they do need to not... It's a tricky spot to be in because they're in a good position to get a lot of momentum, get a big run, but you cannot wait too long, right? You can't wait too long. If you wait too long, it might be a 4 wide on the last lap going in the last corner, and you have nowhere to go to make a move. What do? If you go too early, you might get to the lead early on and be a sitting duck. So, like, when do you make that move, right? That's the tricky part about this racing. It's all about trying to find that perfect timing, and that perfect timing is very, very hard to find. We'll see who can do it here. 3 wide, and Roman now to the inside with an opportunity again. Slaunch, again, trying to make that outside work. He's been having multiple opportunities, trying to make that middle and outside line, trying to take it to the lead. And where did this come from? Deech and Matt, a row on the inside, a big run there. Where did they come from? Here we go. Coming to 2 to go. This might be the big run for them. I feel like we haven't talked about them and haven't seen them much this Moto, but crunch time, here they are again. Time to go and trying to make their move to the front and trying to have another good result. They've both had really good results all night, and maybe at the end here, coming into play late and trying to do it yet again. And meanwhile, Slaunch takes the lead. He makes that middle to outside work. He gets the lead over Detail, but the door is open on the inside, so Detail's going to go back down to the inside. We're going to be going to the white flag this time by. If you have any moves, there's not really time to save him anymore. You got to go for it. But Detail, he had a big run, but he's getting a little too far in front. We see this happen in NASCAR races and in real life a lot of the time too. you have that big run late, you want to go for it, but then you get too far ahead of the pack, and that's not where you want to be. And you see he goes way back because of that, and he tries to save it the best that he can, but he's going to lose a lot of momentum. He still has time in the last lap. He's still in a good spot, but he needs to try to get momentum quickly and try to get back up to the front quickly. Yeah, that was not exactly the position he was hoping to be in. Still in a good spot, though. Roman, meanwhile, to the inside of Matt to the lead, and now he's in a really good position. We're 3 wide for the lead. Oh, Slaunch shoots up, goes all the way to the wall. No, not again for Slaunch. But here we go. We still have a race to the line. Matt trying to make it happen around the outside again. Can he get the momentum? I don't think he's able to. Roman is going to take his second win on Homestead. So now Deech and Roman both with 2 wins on Homestead. Deech with 2 on the night, Roman with 2 total. And let's get some replay action. Let's see what happens. So in the fast forward here, but we're watching for a little bit, and you can see like Detail just got a little too far out in front, and that's a tricky position to be in. It's like, what do you do? Do you lift a little bit? Like when he gets in front of Slaunch right there, do you lift to like get him back to your bumper? Like what do you necessarily do there? Maybe that's what he had to do. I don't know. But regardless, tough position to be in. He tries to stop the momentum from Slaunch, wasn't able to get there. He does stop the momentum from Deech and Luke, and is just trying to find like an opening here to get back into, you know, a position to get some momentum and try to take that win. And Matt right here, I thought he was going to keep holding the inside line, but slides up just a little bit, and then the door is open for Roman on the inside. Yeah, I thought Matt was going to completely block that inside line off the corner, but did go to the middle, maybe thinking that he would get a better run on the exit of 3, is probably the thought process there. But unfortunately, you know, Roman had a huge run on the inside. He had a little bit of help behind. And then here we see the contact here. Slaunch trying to get as close down to Matt as possible, but Roman's also right there, and Matt's just in a tricky spot, and he's trying to give both drivers room. Slaunch coming down, Roman coming up, and yeah, just that contact, and really unfortunate for Slaunch. But again, like that's total racing deal, like not much you could do. And take a look at that. Even replay it yourself if you need to. But look at this angle that I got. Slaunch, when he slides up in front of Deech, lucky to get away with this because his front bumper actually caves in. That contact was so close that Deech's front bumper actually caves in when Slaunch slides in front of him. So there was very slight contact. Love this view right here of how close that was. We're gonna take a look at it in normal speed too. And here we have the rear facing off the corner for Matt, and this is just such an awful view because you just have people from both ways, just momentum making moves. It's just not what you want to see, and that was Matt's rear view on the last lap, so just not ideal, obviously. Yeah, and then Roman like almost running a complete lane up. I mean, that's really unfortunate. He probably should have been more inside trying to block Detail. I don't know if he thought Detail had the line. Maybe he did have the run, but that's unfortunate because if he was a little further down, like kind of where you expected him to be on the last lap, I think maybe that situation with Slaunch could have been avoided. But then coming to the line here and going to take the win. Matt going to take second again. Detail on the podium, though. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get, you know, quite the finish that he was hoping for. Ran up front a lot this race, but at the least, I'm sure he's happy to at least get a podium this time for running up front as much as he could. And Luke trying to make a run at the end here, not able to find it. But yeah, Deech getting really lucky with it, though, because, again, that contact with Slaunch that was so close. Unfortunate that he wasn't able to do the 3 in a row, but at least he didn't wreck there in the last lap. That could have been really bad and could have made things weird for the overall. He gets the run, and does he even... Yeah, that run was huge. Opix protects so hard from Luke that Deech gets a massive run and gets that spot. I don't know if Opix kept that straighter. I don't know if Deech would have got that. Oh, and then hard to tell though. In some post-race action here. Yeah, we're gonna have to cut away. But hope you guys enjoyed it. Hakone coming up next week. And congrats to Deech on the overall. And I'm actually gonna take a look at the overall points in their entirety. Here as well to give you guys that. So Deech taking the overall win on the night with 47 points. Matt taking second with 44. So if Matt was able to take that win from Roman, he actually would have been in Moto 3 right there. He would have been just 1 point shy of Deech. But then there's so many like what ifs, right? Like again, like I said, if Opix was able to protect from Luke a little bit lighter, but still hold on to his position from Luke, I think that helped Deech get that run to get around Opix. So, like, does Opix just hold both positions right there? It's so hard to tell because then Deech wouldn't have gotten that extra point with that pass at the end. So just, like, a lot of what-ifs, a lot of crazy stuff there at the end. But again, Deech 47, Matt 44. Roman 42 ended up taking a 2-position excessive block penalty in Moto 2 because there was some rogue stuff going on there. There was definitely some rogue stuff going on in Moto 2 that was a little too far in a couple points, in my opinion. But yeah, still taking the third place overall with 42 points. Luke taking fourth with 38. Detail as well, fifth with 38. And then, yeah, Opix and Slaunch. Unfortunate rough nights for them. 6 and 7, 34 points for Opix, 33 for Slaunch. But again, they were in your podium for the overall season last season, and they were very, very consistent, very solid at the road courses. I do not have any doubts that they will be able to bounce back and start to climb that very quickly. No doubt. It will definitely get competitive. But there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you at Hakone. And again, one more time, congrats to Deech. He became our second ever overall winner in our Forza events. And then also, of course, congrats to Roman on winning Moto 3. So good stuff all around. Congrats to those guys for, big performances here at Homestead. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you at Hakone.